Okay, in this video, what I'm going to do is grab the emails that have both sent and received into our Gmail account, make a summary of what the email is about, and then store the email both in our Google Sheets database and also in our Notion database. So to begin with, we go up here to New Workflow, and we will go to Gmail, and we're going to do the emails received, so the email inbox first. So trigger when an email receives. So effectively do this when an email comes in. Click done. Then we want to add the AI to Summaries. We'll use GPT-4. We'll set the source of the summary to the body of the email. The length of the summary is probably good for about a paragraph. And then we'll click done. And so now we've got the email, we've summarized it. Now we'll take the summary and the email details and put it into Google Sheets. So if we type in Sheets, we find Google Sheets, and we're going to add a row. So we want to add a row to our sheet because it's going to be adding a new email that's come in and putting in a new record. So we select the sheet that it's on, and it's in the communications database, and then it's in the received emails. And then it's fields to populate. So that's what information are we putting in. So we add a field, and we've got all these fields that we can put the information in. So we'll start with the other party's name. And so the other party is from name. And so now their name goes in the other party to the email, and then the other party's email will also need to go in here. And so it's from the other party's email. So that now we put their name, their email. If we have any CC emails, and then blind copy. Yep, we do have a blind copy. All right, well, we will delete that one. We'll add in the subject line, the email, the subject. We'll add the field, the date. We'll get the date from up here somewhere. Where can we see? Send time, I guess. Is what we want. And then I think that's it. We can put the attachment and we'll go file name. So that won't actually store, if it's sent a file through, it won't store the actual file, but it will store the file name. So we'll have a record that there was an attached document to the email. So we're going to have the name, the email, the subject, the send time. Then we want to include the message. So from the email, we get the body, and then that should be all that the details that we've got, and our summary. So we want to get our summary, and we want to add the model response that was up here, and then we've got it all then. So we can click done. And what we might do before we go any further is just come through here and make sure we label these correctly so that we know what the things are called and what they're doing. This one's pretty self-explanatory, which is probably why I forgot about it. So it's we'll just say summarize email. And so now you can see over here, it's got what it's written as. And then we can come in here and edit the title of this one. And we'll say add email details to Google Sheets database. Because that way then future me, when they come back to look at it, it'll make sense of what each of these steps are. So we've summarized the email, we've sent it to the Google Sheets database. Now we'll look to store it in Notion. And so we'll add in here and we'll find Notion. And we're going to add a page to the database. What database are we gonna find this in? Let's have a look. We'll open her up. Gmail monitoring is the one that it's going to be in. The content is going to be our main message. So the body of the email will go in there. So you can say email received from, get the data, get the other parties. You can get it from the email, get the from name. So an email received from, boom, and then we'll put enter. We can even make this bold. So an email received from, put in the email name, couple of spaces, and then it will paste in the email body. And then there's also some fields. So any copied in parties. And so that is our CCs. And do we get blind CCs? Nope. And then add field. Oh, it's of course we're not going to get blind CCs because it's a received email. So the next one is the date. And so we're going to, why aren't we allowed to select add field, date, reference date. Oh, there we go. Reference date, send time. So it goes in there. We don't need to offset it, and we're using the reference time because Gmail will have that time correct. The message summary that we will grab from the model response, which is here, and you notice here it has number 1, and that corresponds to the step 1 up here. So that's how you can tell what part you're coming back to grab. And so that's message, and then we're going to grab other parties' emails. And the other thing as well to realize is, and so that's all the courtesy copies emails. It doesn't particularly matter what order you put these copied in parties, date, all these different fields. It just puts them all in pretty much instantaneously. So the order that you do it in doesn't particularly matter. It can just be whatever is up to you. So, and then subject, we'll add in the email subject line, and I think that's it. Then there's tags. Okay, so I've managed here to forget a section. So what we'll do is we'll click done, and so we've got the page in here, but we want to put something in between here. So we'll go in here, and what we want to do is we want to connect, define and extract information from data. So what we're going to do is use the AI to grab the email the email body, and then add some instructions here, and we're going to say you are to classify this email into one of the following classification sets. Number one, let's call it commercial emails from subscription. That's like things like Facebook emails, all that kind of stuff. Number two, feedback from form replies talking about Queensland and Wade's residency. And three, what else could there be coming in? Let's just at this point say other. When you decide what classification the email is in, make your reply a single word, either commercial, croquet, other. And then that should be it. Hang on, why are we saying extract from body, additional context, output? Oh yes, we need to say it will be a text. Yep, text is fine. Oh, I didn't click save. And I need to put a property. So we'll put in, call that the tag. And then we will click done. And we'll actually come back in here and name this, edit title, and we'll call this application of email. And so that is that. So we've grabbed the email, we've summarized the email, we've added the email details into the Google Sheets database, we've classified the email as to what type it is, and then we're adding it to Notion. So that's what we need to do. Is the last thing is we need to, in the tag section, we need to grab the tag that it's come out of the classification email and put it in Notion there. So we're ready to test it now. So we come up here and we say start a test run. And then it's going to go through the emails and look to find the current emails. And so we've got a quick but powerful things to do with your Relay app right now. So we're going to create a test run there. So this is going to be a commercial email, and we'll find out if it has done its task successfully. So it's summarized it, added it to Google Sheets, classified it, and then sent it to Notion. So let's go through and have a look. So the summarization of the email, Jacob's email gives 3 efficient tips for using the Relay app, automatically saving email attachments to the correct folder using automations, blah, blah, blah. So that is what the email is about. Added other parties, Jacob, other parties' email, the subject line, the date that it came in, and the actual email into the sheets, and then the summary. And then it's classified the email, and it's classified it correctly as a commercial email. And then it's added it to the Notion database. So it's bolded that it's from Jacob Bank. It's put in the email. It's put in the date, the message summary, the subject, and it's put the tag in that it is commercial. I think, and this is why we need to check, we didn't put the emails in. So I can bring up Notion here. Yeah, so we didn't put the other party's email in. So this is why we check it, to make sure that it works. But we can see it's got the commercial tag. And if we open it up, it's recorded the email here. And fantastic, it's in bold. So we just need to come back into the Relay app. And what was it that we didn't do? That's right, we didn't put... So we get options, editing workflow, which takes us back to here. And we just need to add field, other parties, and then add this little button here, grab the email, and from name. So we've copied in the party's email, and then the other party's name is there as well. And so now we have it fully correct, and so that is creating the email received run. So fantastic. When we can now go to publish, and then we'll turn it on. And so it's turning it on now, and the instant an email comes in, it'll trigger and it'll automatically do that process. And now what we should be able to do is duplicate this workflow and do it for email sent. So we duplicate the workflow, and now it's created a new one, copy of. So the first thing we'll do up here is change this from being a copy of email received, and we'll come over and we'll put Gmail email sent. Now you want to come in and obviously change these different things, but because we've copied it, we've got the same process in front of us. We just need to go through and change the things from being the email received to the email sent. So instead of received, we put email sent and click done. We're doing the same thing. We're summarizing the body of the email. We're going to then add the details to the Sheets database, but instead of being received email here, we're obviously going to do sent emails. Again, we'll insert at the bottom of the sheet, and then we'll throw in all our details down here. So the subject line, we'll add another field, the other parties, the email, who it is to, because we sent it. So all email addresses that we're sending it to. Hang on, we've got other parties' email address. So that's what we want, other parties' email. And then we'll grab their email address. Hang on, if we're sending it to, yeah. Don't worry about it, mate. Just making sure I got it right. So the CC emails, from email, CC email address. We've got the message. So the body of the message. We've got the date. There's the date, send time. And we've got the summary. That's from the model response, which was this summary email here. And then lastly, we've got any attachment that is on the email. And so we just want to make sure that we've authorized that. So that's just making sure it can log into Google. It was saying it just needed to reauthorize that, probably because we copied it across. Just needed to double check. This one looks like it's going to do the same thing to us. Yeah, so we just need to authorize down there because they had that little attention symbol. And so email sent to, and then we'll change this to email to, and then the email body, and then we've got the copied in parties, which is the CC. We've got the send time. We've got the message. We've got the other party's email. We've got the subject. So this was the advantage of copying it across. We didn't have to repopulate all these. We've got the subject. We've got the tag, and we've got the other party's name. If you just let me double check the other party's name. So it's email sent, so it's to. Probably even put first result. I'll have to investigate that more. It could also be that what we want to do here is that's from us, and then to, and so it's just got the email address there. It doesn't have an actual name. And so then the classification. So if we're sending it out, let's say number 1 is commercial email, commercial applies to conversations, applies to emails, talking about having conversations about Croquet Queensland and Wade's presidency, and then all other emails. I think most of my emails that have been sent are likely to be Croquet ones. But so that's just, again, this is just a demonstration. You could have 5 different classifications, and then of course anytime you're making a classification for the emails, you want to have an all other email. And so we tell it to be again either commercial, Croquet, or other. And then it's a tag, done. And then in here we should have our tag from number 3, which is there, done. Let's start a test run. So this is one that's been sent. So we'll start the test run. And so it's grabbed the email, and oh no, we need to click it first. Now it'll grab the email. Summarizing the email, sending it off to Google Sheets, classifying the email, and then sending it off to Gmail monitoring. I think as well we want to add another tag in Gmail monitoring. Yeah, because we've got this received and sent that I'd previously done. And that's also tagged it as other rather than Croquet. So we need to have another go of it to make sure that it's picking up that tag correctly. So there's two things we need to do, and we need to do the second one in both of them. So let's just have a look at this classification first. Let's just say, oh no, we need to come in here, editing workflow. So it might be the fact that it's not a reply, and so that's what confused it a bit. So we'll just say emails, having conversations about Croquet, and Wade's CAQ. That should do it, because I have a feeling that that thing of saying replies was what confused it. And so now this time we can say test this step, and then we'll just get a better. No, it still kicked it out as other, not as. So that's interesting, isn't it? So this is why we need to test it. And or, because it could be taking it very literally. So we'll, unless it was because I hadn't saved it first before I tested it, but let's test it again. There we go. So it's picked up the tag now and tagged it as Croquet. So that's why we want to test it. So we'll publish. Actually, no, we won't. We've got one more thing to do, and that was in these tags. So we get tag there, and then we'll also say sent. So we'll tag it as Croquet and then sent. And then we'll publish that one. And then we'll come across to received here and go in here, and in this tag here, this was received. So just make sure I put sent in the other one, published, publish. This is email sent. Yep, sent. Done. And so we'll turn this one on as well. Or we'll turn it off. We'll run a test run. Any of these will be the same. So we'll just create the test run and we can follow it through. So let's grab the email, it's summarizing it, adding it to the Google Sheets database, classifying and sending it through. So we can see there, it's made the summary. It's classified it. It's classified it again as other. So it's definitely having problems picking up that classification of the email. So going to have to do a better job of that. So we'll just bring up Notion. Aha, so we can see now that that has been done as sent, which is what we want to see, but it is still saying that it's other, even though this is very much an email about Croquet. So Let's just see if we change the model, if that helps the classification. Because I would have thought it was well explained enough. See, here it had classification of croquet. Quickly run this through again and see if it classifies correctly. So that time it classified it correctly. Going to go back to the workflow. Yeah, unless like it was I'm just going to change it back to 3.5 because that's much, although it's a simpler model, it's also much cheaper. So if possible, just for like a categorization email, you want to do it on the cheaper model. So we'll see if that tag remains at croquet. No, see on the simple model, it's going back to other, but if you put it onto the other one, GPT 4o, you see that it tags it correctly. So we'll leave it on GPT 4o because we found that that is classifying it better, and we'll also change this one to 4o because we want to make sure we're getting the correct classifications. I mean, it's such a simple task that the cost is going to be something like 0.1 cent versus 0.3 cents or something for that classification run. If you can get away with something cheaper, why not use it? But it's clearly having just a bit of a problem picking up that croquet email. So we'll leave it at that. We'll turn this one on. And now whenever an email comes in, it's going to get classified and sent to Notion's database. And then we can use the filters in Notion database to then alert people in our Notion workspace that an email that has something to do with them has come in. So if it was for an organization as a whole, and say it was a post about association croquet, then all the people who have something to do with association croquet, so it could be the person that is the director and the referee of AC, that email could be flagged and the summary shown to them so that everybody keeps in the loop of the communications that's happening in and around. But again, this was in real time. We created 2 recording databases of emails, and it took us about half an hour to do those 2 things. And now that's set up, ready now to then go on to the next stage of the automation process. So that was it. And I'm sorry that you'll never get that half an hour of time back, but hopefully in that half an hour, you now have another bit of an idea about how this automation software can work.